Good morning, my dear students. So today we are going to discuss about the direct and bending stresses. That is the third unit. So coming to the introduction to the direct and bending stresses, first I will explain what is the direct stress and what is the bending stress. We know already when a body is subjected to the axial tensile or compressive load. Okay, for suppose this is the axial tensile load, this is the compressive load. So when it is acting like this, or when the body is subjected to the either it is a tensile or compression, there should be a direct stress will be produced. So the direct stress alone is produced in a body when it is subjected to the an axial tensile or compressive load. So this is the direct stress. Coming to the bending stress, the bending stress is nothing but the bending stress is produced in the body when it is subjected to the bending movement. So when it is subjected to the bending movement, there will be a bending stress is produced. Okay. So if the body, for suppose if the body is subjected to the axial loads as well as the bending movements. So what happens? Both the stresses are developed and both the stresses will produce in this body. So both means direct stress as well as bending stress. So here, if the body is subjected to the axial loads and also the bending movements, then both the stresses will produce in the body. So in this chapter, we shall study the important cases of the members subjected to the direct stress and also bending stress. And these stresses act normal to the cross section of the member, and hence these two stresses may be algebraically added into the single resultant stress. Anyway, we will move ahead. That is the combined bending and direct stresses. So here let us take a column like this, the section, the load acting on both sides. So if consider a column, in this case subjected to the compressive load P. So here the compressive load is a P acting along the axis of the column. This is the axis of the column. This load will cause a direct compressive stress whose intensity will be uniform across the cross section. So the intensity should be uniform across this entire cross section. Okay. Now let us take sigma naught equal to intensity of the stress and A is the area of cross section and P is the load acting on the column. So my dear students, now let us take sigma naught is the intensity of the stress, A is the area and P is the load acting on the column. Then what happens? Stress equal to sigma naught equal to P by A, that is nothing but load by area. Okay, this is the formula we know already, that is the stress formula. So now consider the case of the column subjected to a compressive load P whose line of action is at a distance of E from the axis of the column. For suppose now I will draw a column like this. Let us take this column. Okay, the load is acting here at a distance of E. This E is nothing but eccentricity. Okay, suppose denoted with the A. So this case, if you observe here, Here E is the eccentricity of the load. I will write here E is the eccentricity of load, and also the eccentric load is nothing but P. Okay, so if you observe here, the eccentric load, the E, sorry, eccentricity is the E, P is the eccentric load. Okay, it will cause direct stress as well as the bending stress. So how both the stresses will develop here? So in this case, if you take this one, there is a eccentricity E, the eccentric load is a P. So how the forces or stresses will develop here? For suppose, if I take the column like this, in this case, at a distance E, the load is P. So now I apply the load P on both sides, in vertical direction, downward and also upward. So in this case, two equal and opposite forces we are considering. So here total three forces are acting on the column. Okay. So now how we will distribute this one? So it is like this column. So one force is like this acting, and another force, two forces are acting like this. Yeah. So if you observe these two diagrams, so what happens? So it is the load is acting here in the along the axis of the column, hence it will produce the direct stress. And if you observe here, due to these loads, it will form a couple. So definitely there will be a moment is P into E. So this couple, P into E couple, the moment whatever it is there, it will produce the bending stress. So like this, the bending stress as well as the direct stress will develop in this column. Okay. Now we will take one section and we will derive the resultant stress. The case is resultant stress when a column of rectangular section is subjected to an eccentric loading. So in this case, my dear students, please look into this one. So this is the case. Here we have to calculate the resultant stress when a column is a rectangular section is subjected to a eccentric load. So now I will draw that one. For suppose, if it is a first, I will draw a plan. This is the plan and this is the elevation of the column. Okay. So what they are saying, when the load is acting, that is the P at a, this is the section, at eccentricity E. So this distance is E. Okay. Now this is the elevation. This is the plan. So this is the x-axis and also y-axis. X. Okay. So this is the depth of the column D and also width of the column is B. Okay. Now the load is acting at this point and the distance is E, eccentricity. This load here I will write, it is the position of the load P. Okay. So here if you observe, this is the plan, this is the section and there will be a stress distribution is there. Anyway, I will explain at the end regarding this one. This is the sigma minimum and sigma max. How we will take this one after derivation, I will explain. Okay. So now let us take a column of a rectangular section is subjected to the eccentric load. If you observe this one, this is the column with the eccentric load is here. Let the load is eccentric with respect to the y-axis. You see, we are taking with respect to the y-axis. It is mentioned that the eccentric load causes the direct stress as well as the indirect bending stress. Okay. So now let us calculate these stresses, the direct stress as well as the bending stress. The first let us take the P is the eccentric load on column and E is the eccentricity of the load. Sigma naught equal to direct stress. Sigma B equal to bending stress. B is the width of the column. D is the depth of column. So my dear students, now let us take the P is the eccentric load. P is the eccentric load of the column as well as E is the eccentricity of the load, and also sigma naught is the direct stress, sigma B is the bending stress, and also B is the width of the column, D is the depth of the column. So now we have to calculate the direct stress as well as the bending stress. So now we will proceed with this data. So now area of the column. First of all, I will write area of column section is A equal to B into D. Okay. Now calculate the moment. Moment due to eccentric load P. What is that? M equal to P into E. This is nothing but load into eccentricity. Okay. So from this area, we calculated B into D. The moment due to the eccentric load P, that is the P M equal to P into E. Now the direct stress is that is a sigma naught is given by load by area, that is P by A. Okay, and this stress, whatever the direct stress, it is uniform along the cross section of the column. So I will write clearly here, this stress is uniform along the cross section of the column. Okay, so now we have to calculate the bending stress. The bending stress is a sigma B. So the bending stress sigma B is due to the movement at any point of the column section at a distance y from the neutral axis yy. We have to calculate now. We have to write the bending equation we know already. I will write that the bending stress sigma B due to movement at any point of the column section at a distance y from the neutral axis yy is given by. So here if you observe the bending stress sigma B due to the movement at any point of the column section at a distance y, you will take the bending stress theory sigma m by I equal to sigma B by plus or minus y. We know this equation already. So from this, sigma b equal to plus or minus m by I into y. Okay. Here, I equal to moment of inertia of the column. For 1 second. Of the column section, about we are taking yy. The axis is about the neutral axis is yy. Okay, that means what happens if you take through the x-axis, that is a bdq by 12, but we are taking through the yy, that is a dbq by 12. Okay, so now substitute this I value in the sigma b formula. Okay, sigma b is plus or minus m by I into y. I is dbq by 12. So sigma b equal to m by dbq by 12 into y. So what happens? 12m into db cube into y. Okay. So now the bending stress is always depends upon the value of y from the axis yy. Okay. So for this case, so this is the sigma b whatever we got. Now the bending stress at the extreme is obtained by y equal to b by 2. So why? Because we are taking through the yy axis. Okay. So what happens? Sigma b we know already. Substitute in the sigma b value. Sigma b equal to 12m by db cube into y. So 12m by db cube into p by 2. Then what happens? 2 6 ja and bb will square. So then what happens? 6m by db square. So this is the sigma b value we got. So simply we substituted the y value. So what is the value we got? Sigma b equal to 6m by db square. As we know, m equal to p into e. So now substitute the moment in the above equation. So sigma b equal to 6 into p into e by d into b into b. So we know already area equal to d into b. Okay. So sigma b equal to what happens? 6p into e by a into b. So this is the sigma b value whatever we got still now. Okay. So the thing is that sigma b value is 6pe by ab. Okay. The resultant stress at any point will be algebraic sum of the direct stress as well as the bending stress. Okay. And one important thing is that if the y value is taken positive on the same side of the yy axis, okay, then what happens? The bending stress will be same type as the direct stress. So hence the direct stress is compressive, and hence the bending stress will also compressive towards the right of the yy axis. Similarly, if I take the bending stress in the left side towards the left side of the yy axis, taking the compressive stress is a positive and tensile stress is a negative. So we can find the maximum and the minimum stresses at the extremities of the section. So the stresses will be maximum along the layer of the BC. So here where I will show you in the plan. Yeah, if you see, if I taken this one as a B, C, D. So this side, here the stresses will be maximum along this layer BC, as well as minimum along the layer is AD. So same like this I will write the maximum and the minimum stresses. Yeah, let us take sigma max equal to maximum stress, that is stress along BC. Sigma minimum equal to minimum stress, that is stress along AD. Okay, then what is the sigma max? Sigma max is the direct stress plus bending stress. So now direct stress we know, so substitute that one, P by A. That is nothing but before that I will write sigma max equal to direct stress is sigma naught, bending stress is sigma B. So sigma naught is the P by A, sigma B is the 6 PE by AB. So now take a common, P by A take as a common, then what happens? 1 plus 6E by B. So this is the sigma max value, that is the maximum stress value we got, P by A into 1 plus 6E by B. Okay. Same like that we will calculate the minimum stress, that is sigma minimum equal to direct stress minus bending stress. Direct stress is a sigma naught minus sigma B. Sigma naught we calculated already, that is a P by A minus 6P by AB. Take P by A as a common, then what happens? 1 minus 6E by B. This is the sigma minimum. Okay. So here we calculated the sigma max as well as the sigma B. Okay, these stresses I shown in the figure, in the previous figure. The resultant stress along the width of the column will vary by the straight line law. And for suppose if you take sigma minimum is a negative, then the stress along the AD will be tensile. If sigma minimum is 0, then there will be no tensile stress along the width of the column. Okay. Or suppose if there is a sigma minimum value is 0, there will be no tensile stress along the width of the column. If sigma minimum is a positive, then there will be only compressive stress along the width of the column. Okay, this is the derivation whatever we done still now. Okay. So I think still we have 10 minutes time. We will solve one problem. Okay. That is a very easiest problem we will solve. Yeah. A rectangular column of width 200 mm and of thickness 150 mm carries a point load of 240 kilonewtons at an eccentricity of 10 mm. Okay. Now we have to determine the maximum and minimum stresses on the section. So my dear students, take a rectangular column, width is the 200 and also thickness is the 150. So they given here the thickness, that is nothing but depth D. So the point load is 240. They given the point load acting on the column is 240. Eccentricity is at 10 mm. So now calculate the maximum and minimum stresses. So I will draw a plan. The given width is a 200, depth or thickness is a 150. The elevation is like this, the column. So this is the section. Okay. So here what they are asking, the load is acting here. So the point is here, the load point. This is the eccentricity. The load is 240 kilonewtons and the eccentricity is 10 mm. Okay. So now calculate the sigma max and also sigma minimum. So this is the like this. Calculate the sigma max, this one, and also sigma minimum. So these are the unknown factors. Now let us write the given data. B equal to 200 mm, D equal to 150 mm, area equal to B by T, 200 into 150, you will get 30,000 mm square. Okay, this is the area. Now the eccentric load they given already, that is a 240 kilonewtons. If you convert into the newtons, it is like this. Okay, the eccentricity also they given 10 mm. Now calculate the sigma max value. Sigma max value is, we know the formula is P by A into 1 plus 6E by B. So P is nothing but 240 into 1000. Area is the 30,000 and 1 plus 6 into eccentricity is the 10 mm. B is the width, that is the 200. So if I calculate, I will get the answer is 10.4 Newton per meter square. So just now we derived that the sigma max value for the rectangular cross section. Okay. Now same like that, calculate the sigma minimum. The sigma minimum formula is P by A into 1 minus 6E by B. P is nothing but 240 into 1000. Area is the 30,000. 1 minus 6 into 10. B value is the 200. So you will get the answer 5.6 Newton per meter square. Then finished. So you will write here, this is the 5.6 Newton per meter square. This is a 10.4 Newton per meter square. So this is the easiest way, the easy formula. I will explain again for your better understanding. It is a rectangular section is there, rectangular section column is there, width is 200 mm and also thickness is a 150. It carries a point load is a 240. So eccentricity is a 10 mm. We have to determine the maximum stress and also minimum stresses. Okay. So this is the diagram. So this is the plan and this is the elevation. Okay. So in this plan, this is the x-axis and also these are the y-axis. So this is the position of the point load. This is the eccentricity E. So in the elevation, I shown clearly this is the 240 kilonewton. The eccentricity E is the 10 mm. So now we have to calculate the sigma minimum and the sigma maximum. That is the minimum and the maximum stresses. So the given data is B, D. From this, calculate the area. Okay, we got 30,000 mm square. We know already P, the load, eccentric loading. That is a 240 kilonewton. We converted into the newtons. That is the 240 into 10 cube. The E value is the 10 mm. And the sigma max, the maximum stress formula is P by A into 1 plus 6E by B. So P we know already, that is 240,000. A is the 30,000. So multiply with the 1 plus 6 into E. E is the 10 and B is the width is the 200. So we got the maximum stress value is 10.44, 10.4 Newton per meter square. Same like that, calculate the minimum stress value. The minimum stress formula is P by A into 1 minus 6 into E by B. P is nothing but 240 into 1000. A is the 30,000. Multiply by 1 minus 6 into E is nothing but 10. B is 200. So the minimum stress value is 5.6 Newton per meter square. So like this, we have to calculate the problem. Anyway,